2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV and Film Vault Limited.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online. Or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info. Or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EEWC, the fourth round of this year's tournament here at GTR 24 race. 3/4 of the race is down, so 3 hours remain for our competitors to keep the battle going, keep the concentration going, and for you lovely people to contend with my voice for another 3 hours. That's assuming my voice holds out for 3 hours, for 3 more hours. So then, who is where? Let's have a look then at Robert Pound, that's now in control of the 15 Deuces race leading car. So we've seen Robert several times throughout the race. Damien Scovron is in the pilot seat of the number 94. He's only a couple of seconds behind, but that's because the 15 car's just been through the pits. So actually, if you look further back, there it is. The Burst Esports car, the Burst Esports LMP car, but that does have a pit stop to serve that's the number 15 car has already done. So whilst it would be great if we had a battle for the lead only 2.5 seconds apart, it's not realistically the case, as Damon Scovron will have to bring that car in fairly soon. And the third of our NMPs is being piloted by Alistair Young, the number 21 7-9 Astor car continues its merry way, a few laps down from his classmates. The DPIs, now that gap is closing between Denis Sashenko and Michi Hoyer. Michi has been driving pretty solidly. Oh, as we see Robert Pound catch the back of the 404 Glam Racing Audi, nearly slamming into the back of him at that angle. There is Denis Sashenko, who, following a penalty on the Burst Esports car, has gained the lead of the DPI class, but that DPI has that lead in the DPI class has been slowly shrinking. So last time around it was about 0.7 of a second at 120.590 from Michi Hoyer. Is now putting the gap to just under 80 seconds, which sounds a lot, and in racing terms it is quite a bit, but over a 3-hour period it's not impossible to close in. I'm not going to do the maths, somebody else can do that, but of course penalties can still be levied at any team for the reasons of the rules, of course. In the GTEs, that is still being led by the DIS Sim Racing Lab Porsche. They've just hit 350 laps down. Done, rather. They're not 350 laps down. That would be a very bad race. So the DIS Porsche leading the way, a couple of laps ahead of the MCM Motorsports number 27, that is back in the hands of Angel Benegas. And third is Joao Barbosa in the Deuces Motorsport number 74. Michael Francesconi in the 53 Mustang Pescara Porsche in fourth, and Michael Pedersen in the 166 ID Sinsport Aston in fifth place, with the GT3s being led by Alex Escher in the Azatec Sinsports car, with Jakub Kowalski in the 404 Glam Racing car, along with the 777 Gadget Husit Corvette in third, being piloted by Matthias Harvek, now a Hatmaster. So what can Robert Pound do? Well, he doesn't need to do an awful lot at this stage. The gap between himself and Damien Scovron has come down a little bit. There is Damien in the background as they work their way past the number 53 Porsche. No sign of the pit lane from Damien Scovron as yet. Although the lap time last time around was 0.2 to Robert Pound's favour, and now Damien Scovron's just caught the Porsche at the time he wouldn't have wanted. Now it's just chinks out from behind it, uses the extra grip of the LMP car. Away he goes. And who are they now catching? That looks, is that the Deuces car? No, that's the MCM car. That's Angel Benegas, who very much got out of the way. You don't need to jump off the road to get out of the way of an LMP car. Indeed, it's not a good idea to do so, because if you spin, you could actually hit the car you're trying to get out of the way of. So we are now looking at, I think that's in the middle of the two. Is that the other DPI? Is that the other Burst car? It is. That's the Burst DPI car. So David Mrocek is now back in charge of that. So that's been in the pits. So that the charge we were seeing between from Michi Hoyer, so it's come to an end as David Mrocek now in control of the number 18 car. We'll see what David is able to do at this point. Whoa, steady, Damien. Keep an eye on race control. No further messages from them. We now see the Juices car catching the back of the IB Sinsport Porsche, who's trying to mind his own business. Whoa, close, very close. Oh wow, as David Mrocek in the Burst DPI got very somewhat squiggly there. There's a fair amount of wheel soaring going on there to keep his car on the black stuff. Going down through Junshan once again. Still more sparks being chucked up, but the LMP cars don't seem to chuck up as much as the DPI ones do. Now 3.2 seconds between Robert and Damien there. I suspect Skelbron, yep, I thought he was going to be coming into the pit soon, and in he comes. So Damien Skelbron had his moment being close to the race lead, but we did know this was going to be coming to an end, as he was due for the pit lanes. And somebody else I saw in the pits there. Yes, that's Joao Barbosa, the number 74 car, has come in as well. Another scheduled stop for them. So now Robert Pound can rebuild the lead. And of course, ebbs and flows with the nature of pit stops and what have you. They were keeping an eye on the gap between the DPI pair, which of course went back up to just over a lap because of the obviously pit stop difference and penalties and what have you. Still plenty of time for that to change, but that time is ebbing away. Under 3 hours now. Oh, another message from race control. Car number 27 is now in the limelight. That's Angel Benegas for MCM Motorsport. They have now had their warning for track limits. So race control are being kept busy at this stage of the race. And there is Angel Benegas bringing in the Aston Martin. Now, is he going to hand it over? Because I think he's been in there a while. 65 seconds. Yeah, that is a long time. So either he came in undeclared and the pit crew weren't ready for him, or no, it's a driver change. Yes, it is. It's Ivan Aguado, who also had a very long stint at the beginning of the race in that car. So now Ivan is back on track. What is he able to do? Maintain the pace is what he's required to do, and still in second in the GTEs. So good job there for MCM Motorsport, and let's see if they can hang on to that for the remainder of the race. Now it's going to take him a little while to get back accustomed to the car as he's kicking up some dust, getting it on the infield there, on the inside line. There's David Mrocek. There's a determined face there if ever I saw one. Pressing on over the line. Let's see what lap times. Wow, a 1:19.7. I'd say he's determined. There's been a fair amount of discussion behind the scenes on what happened to the 18 car earlier on, and certainly David Mrocek's doing the talking on track, which is exactly where it should be done. And that's only half a second off the team best lap time of 19.287. And that's also quicker than what Unison have managed all race long. So that's a storming lap time from David Mrocek, who now has a face full of deuces. Oh, he did the right thing there, but it's going to cost him time. He slotted in back behind the Aston. Playing poker is a good thing. I'll take your word for it. I've never played. Face full of deuces is a good thing in poker. I can't say from personal experience. I'm not. I was about to say I'm not a card player. That's not strictly true. I do know some card games, but poker is not one. Never learnt. But I'm certainly not a gambler, though. So, also part of the reason why I never learned. And fair amount of sparks again from the number 18. So that lap was a little bit compromised, and he was still at 20.4. Which was 1.6 seconds quicker than Denis Sashenko was in the 17 car. Now, it looks like the 17 has indicated that they're going to be coming in, so that'll mitigate quite a bit of the distance between the two DPIs. And if David Mrocek can continue that kind of pace, then we could well see a battle for the DPI lead before the checkered flag falls. We will see. We will certainly see. Now, maintaining that kind of pace for that length of time is a very, very impressive feat. Into the pits comes Denis Sachenko, onto the marks and up on the jacks. I do see Jonas Simoncic is lurking in the background, so we may see him back in the burst car before too long, or before the end of the race. And we will see if that is the case. There's Milchek coming through the picture. So to take off that lap that was a little lost. That's a 120.4 for the 18 car. Can't see the pit timer on the side of the car, unfortunately, from that. It looks like it's a longer one for the 17 car. Away they go. And I would imagine there was a full tyre change in fuel as well. But the burning question is, what does that make the gap between the two? So we were getting to a point of around about 80 seconds or a little bit under that, and it's about 78 seconds. It hasn't changed a huge amount from when their last round of pit stops began. We'll see with the fresh driver in the number 18, that may well change in the next couple of hours. Not with the face full of juices again. Well, it's Denis Sachenko this time that's got the juices. GTE cars, Joao Barbosa still behind the wheel of the Aston Martin. That looked very close from that angle, but no impact there, as you see. Over the line again from Rocek. Not sure what the lap time was on that occasion, as it didn't tell me. And that's our two DPIs. Race leader, or DPI leader, sorry, Denis Sachenko on the right hand side for Unison, and David Rocek for Burst on the left. So there, Denis Sachenko just crossing the line just as David Rocek is coming into Tito Delago. So that is the difference between the two cars at the moment. That's a 78-ish seconds. A minute and 20, if you will. Or minute and 28, to be precise. And Sachenko has just danced around the Azatec car, still in the hands of Alexander Sescher. Yeah, knew this was going to happen towards the tail end of the race. All the syllables are coming out wrong. Goodness me. Well, we have shared a very long journey together, and we still have several hours of this race to go. Mitchie for the win, we see in chat there. Well, Mitchie's not in the car at the moment, but it's certainly possible that the 18, the Burst Esport DPI car, can close in on the 17. We will have to see. It was a 2:16 for Unison. Oh, of course, pit stop. Of course it was. I was just thinking, what on earth's happened there? Never mind. Brain is really fading me now. 120.2 for Davin Rocek. He's getting faster and faster in the 18 car. But what does Sachenko get on the board? A 21.3, so 1.2 seconds in Davin Rocek's favour there. So that rate is going to take around about 75-ish laps for the 18 car to find the 17. And, well, we will certainly have that many laps. About 1.5 hours, I'm being told. So, yeah, we will certainly find the two cars very close together well before the end of the race. But that's assuming no more disasters before them. That's the crucial thing to remember. Because the reason why the 18 car finds itself in this pickle is due to the disconnect issue they had and the penalties that follow. So that's why Davin Rocek and crew are having to push like absolute mad to try and close in on the Unison car. For the championship, they absolutely don't need to. They're 3 wings from 3 at the moment and are 33 points ahead of Unison before this checker flag even falls. So it's not like they have to win to keep themselves in the championship, but every driver, every team always wants that top step. So it's still possible. as Robert Pound dances around the Master Pescara car of Michael Francesconi. And Porsche carrying on its merry way. So they find themselves 2 laps behind Joao Barbosa in the Juice's Aston Martin. And its sister car leading the race by 87-ish seconds from the Burst Esports car. What are the lap time differences there? Actually, the Burst car was slightly quicker than the Juice's car last time around. 120.977 for Damien Scavron and 21.508 for Robert Pound. What are the GTEs doing compared to one another? Let's have a look. 133.008 for Pedersen. 131.195 for Francesconi. 31.156 for Joao Barbosa. 30.980 was on the previous lap. 31.105 now for Ivan Aguado. And 31.562 for the DIS car. And that's a yellow flag for Alistair Young. It looks like he's had to spin in a different place this time, slightly earlier in the lap, judging by the tracker. So we'll see if we can catch up with why that is the case. We'll give the replay a moment to catch up with what happened. No, that's Michael Peterson, wrong car. So that's what happened. So Alistair Young had a problem. It looked like he was deceived the Largo, and sadly, Michael Pedersen caught the back of the 79 axle car. Oh dear, that's not ideal. So, I mean, Alistair Young is going again, but that car, it's indicated it's coming into the pits. So that's going to be in there a bit of a time, I'd have thought. So we check in with number 18 car again, down to 74.3 seconds or thereabouts for Darren Mocek as he does a 20.4. And there is Alistair Young bringing in the potentially wounded 79 axle car back into the pits. Well, I suspect that could be a while, because that was a hell of a thump that the car took on that time around. Glowing brake discs on the Burst Esports car as Darren Mocek continues his relentless push to close back in on Denis Sashenko in the number 17 Unison car. And we are 7 minutes away from the bottom of another hour, ladies and gentlemen, as we are inside the final quarter of the race, and still only having lost one car from our starting lineup of 14. Absolutely great stuff. And we think that was a reflex action hitting the escape key, which takes your car out of the race. You can do that in practice. You cannot do it in the race, though. And look at the pit timer on Alistair Young's car, on the 79 axle car. That's into the 80s, into the 90s. So a minute and a half they've been stationary for. And that is not going to be an easy thing to undo for the 79 axle team. But they're still guaranteed third, though, irrespective of what happens from this point on. There we go, it's ticked over to over 100 seconds now. And there's the ID Sinsport car that clouted it. So I imagine that they're going to be there for quite a period of time. Probably longer, actually, because I would have thought the damage would have been worse on the Aston than it was on the LMP car. What about Mrocek, though? 119.770 last time around. 120.8 for Ashenko. Still 1.1 seconds slower, so the charge is still absolutely relentless from Mrocek. It's fantastic to see unfold, and away goes the ID Sinsport car, so the damage wasn't too bad, and it's Marcus Steyer back in the car for ID Sinsport. Alistair Young is still stationary. What's that? 2.5 minutes now. Yes, 160 seconds, so we're approaching 3 minutes for that one. Are 79X are going to do a driver change, or will Alistair remain in the car? There's 3 minutes. Yeah, GT cars are pretty fun things. Marocek! Oh, that was a very clenching moment there for David Marocek. I can see he was talking to his team. We probably wouldn't want to broadcast what he said there, as the two burst cars are right with one another now. Darren Marocek and Damien Scarborough. This is the part, of course, as we've said before, the LMP cars are stronger in this particular section as the tail gets somewhat lively on the DPI car. And yeah, that was still a 120.2 on the previous lap for David Marocek, so hugely quick laps. That was a 20.9 from Scarborough, so the LMP car you wouldn't expect to be able to match the pace of the DPI cars. And I would think, is he going to let him go? Flash the lights. He's going to bleed out the throttle there. Yeah, and leave the inside wide open for David Marocek to come through. And the same 9-axle car has changed hands. Alistair Young has handed that over to Josh Purbian. We saw in a rather fetching dressing gown earlier on. But he hasn't got his camera on now, so we don't know if that's still the case. So the gap between our DPIs is now down to just under 72 seconds. So it continues to fall, only by 0.3 of a second last time around. With the tail getting loose on the 18 car and also being pushed onto the grass, that would be partly why. Now, what can Josh Purbian do with the fortunes of the 79-axle team? We will have to see, but he's got quite some distance to close in. Was it 7 laps to find Damien Scarborough in the time remaining? That's going to be a little bit of a tall order, I'd have thought. Anything more from race control? No. There's the answer to that. No other messages at the moment. Which is not surprising, this again, people are focusing on the race itself. We're only a couple of minutes off the bottom of the hour now. All gone by in a blur. Also looking, Ivan Aguado could start challenging in a few laps time. Alexander, well, a few laps, I mean, in a while, I should say, before the flag. Alex Sescher for 7th overall, although not a class position change. The MCM Motorsports Aston Martin could well start to hassle the Azatec SimSports GT3 leader. That could be one we could look for. I'm just fascinated though by David Marocek's blistering pace and just taking big chunks out of the gap between himself and Denis Sashenko. Now is the number 17 car, who did seem to not have the pace to keep up with the 18, so this could be the raw pace of the 17 car, or is Denis Sashenko just being careful with how he's conducting his racing? That we don't know. That is the golden question. I suspect it is a pace difference. I think that Sashenko is probably pushing as hard as he can, but I mean, nothing's going to match that kind of pace. That is awesome lap times coming out from David Marocek at this late stage. As we see, oi, that was close. As the Unison car getting very, very close with the ID SimSport Aston Martin. It's true, that was somewhat of a close call. I would have thought that Steyer would have been a little bit certainly woken up by that one. From that angle, that was really, really close. And we are at the bottom of another hour. We have 2.5 hours remaining of this 12-hour race. And as for now, let's have some messages from the corporate sponsors.
2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flicks, Motorvision.tv, Sten Goldman, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the digital snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to GTR 24H for the fourth round of the EEWC 12 Hours of Interlagos. And still, David Mrocek is continuing his incredible march towards the number 17 of Unison Racing, currently in the hands of Denis Ishenko. But although last time around the pace was slightly off where it normally is, there you've got a highlights reel of the final hour of the last hour. We aren't even at the final hour. If we're having a highlight reel of an hour we haven't had yet, that would be somewhat questionable. Yes, the Palantirs is showing us the future that we have yet to see. Fantastic. Is that before or after we've climbed into the TARDIS, Mr. Moncon? After, obviously, yeah. So, now I did warn you that we would get the an unusually high amount of sailiness as we got towards the tail end of the race. So you have been warned. Oh, goodness me. So, as we said, Mrocek is continuing the blistering pace. It was a 21.1 last time around. It's 20.1 this time. So now 66 seconds, almost under a minute now between themselves and the 17 car. And there you see in the picture, that's when the 404 car tangled with the gadget. Wipe out indeed from production. That's when the Audi and the Corvette tangled up. Oh, Mrocek nearly went too wide coming through Jun Shao there. He still has a very steely look in his eye as he's pressing on to close that gap down. There's Damien Scott on second in the LMP2s for Burst Esports. Both Burst cars are second in class at the moment. They were leading 1-2 in the race at one point early on. And we now look at... Oh no, it's a yellow flag from Mrocek. Oh, he's had a spin. I can actually see on his camera he was turning his wheel all the way over. Oh no, that relentless pace has bitten him. He's now over 80 seconds behind. Let's see what he's done and where. Or we will see what he's done and where when we've had a chance to catch up with the replay. Oh, he's lost so much time now. 81 seconds. It's 15 seconds at least he's lost in that one mistake alone. No, he's fine. He's having to smile about it at least. So he gave it everything he had and could still swing the balance back his way. We worked out they were taking about an hour and a half the pace difference to close in on Denis Schenko, and there's still 2 hours 25 minutes remaining. So if he gets back on that pace, then we could still see Devon Mrocek challenge for that top DPI slot. We will see later on. Have we got the replay now? Yeah. Oh yes, we do. That is Senna S's. Oh, that's the first time we've seen that, or certainly the first time in a while, and just tapped the wall on the pit lane exit. Just a tiny bit wide coming out of the Senna S's. We haven't seen a mistake there very often. And Sam haven't seen a mistake from Devon Mrocek, quite frankly, or indeed the 18 car. But a spin it was, and on they go. And they remain on their path to close back in on Denis Schenko. Yeah, so it was a 132 last time around, so they lost about 11 seconds in their plight. But as Devon Mrocek now dances around the ID Simsport car of Marcus Steyer, he'll get straight back on that pace. And there's the highlights really again showing where the Audi and the Corvette came together and clouted the side of the Burst Esports LMP2 car. Making their day a little bit more difficult. Who else can we have a look at? I was also keeping an eye on Ivan Aguado as he was within about a third of a lap or so off the back of Alexander Session. But that's not a class potential fight there. It's just two cars that happen to be on the same lap challenging for potentially for 7th place. Devon Mrocek had to back out and back out of that particular move and stay behind the 404 there. And sometimes you do have to just bide your time. You can't just barrel into gaps that realistically aren't there, even though if you are chasing for position. But he's still got time enough with the pace difference between himself and the 17 car. And that is, of course, assuming that Devon Mrocek isn't changing driver from that 18 car. We could well see I think that was the one Yene Simčić was in earlier on, and I can see he's on his camera, so we could see Mrocek hand the toys over before the end of the race. We will see. Robert Pound now has caught the back of Marcus Steyer. Oh, that's the Juicy's 15 looking very, very loose coming through Jun Shao. Not Jun Shao, Mugello, sorry. Before you even got down to Jun Shao. Yeah, that's That got somewhat surprising for Robert Pound, who leads class, or leads the race indeed, by 83 seconds over Damien Scarfron. It's just been consistent, top-notch pace from the Juices car. The GTE cars had a bit more to contend with through the course of the race, but the LMP2 car has had the command of the class for quite a while now. Earlier in the race we saw the LMP class change hands, or the LMP class lead change class quite a few times in the course of the race. Whoa, that was a big moment there for the 404. Jacob Kowalski had a big snap suddenly. That would have certainly brought him back to attention. That would have certainly woken him up. I didn't see his camera when that moment happened, but I bet that certainly woke him up a little bit. As Tom, I think it was Tom who was saying that you do get into a good rhythm. This circuit definitely needs a good steady rhythm to be obtained, but you do run the danger of kind of taking your eye off the ball. You go into autopilot a little bit, even in a racing condition. You do kind of autopilot some of it. Certainly in the darkness, if you've got nobody else around you, you can kind of just phase out, and suddenly something happens that snaps you out of it, and you could be in the wall. As Darren Mocek has brought the car back in, easy handed the car over. Let's keep an eye on that. He's done his best to try and close in on Denisichenko. Of course, when we were trying to make the calculation on how long it would take Morocha to close in on Denisichenko, we couldn't take pit stops into consideration because we don't know how many they're doing. That's Robert Pound up to. Is Robert Pound stopping? Oh, don't tell me the Juices car's run out of fuel. Robert Pound has just stopped. Whoa! My goodness me, the ID Sims car nearly smashed in the back of him. Robert Pound's run out of fuel. I reckon he's run out of fuel. There's no other reason you'd stop like that. If you had always had some kind of technical problem, but Robert Pound, the race leader, is stationary on the exit of Desida del Lago. That's going to be a bit of a scary moment for anybody blatting around there, because you can see people having to do making that very sudden correction, because they don't want to hit escape, because that'll just take them straight out of the race. As the engine just dies. Oh, the engine's blown. Oh my goodness. Well, if you keep an ear on the actual engine sound, we could look how he's revving it in fifth. Any wonder he's been building up engine damage if that's the case. And that's when it went. I'm surprised he didn't actually pull the car off, but you may not have realised that's what the actual issue is. But that's it. And that is the end of the race for Juices. They will not be taking the win for the LMP2 class. Wow. Bang, that's where it's gone, where the wheel suddenly snaps like that. That's a great shame. If one of the two is either engine blown or out of fuel, either way, he still hasn't moved. So whatever the situation is, it doesn't seem to be recoverable. And there it is. It's back to the garage. Oh my goodness me. Well, end of the line for the Juices LMP2 car. It has taken nearly 10 hours for two cars to retire from the race. Now, any endurance race will usually have a higher attrition rate than that. We lost the Unison Racing 717 on lap 77, or after 77 laps. So a lot of sevens involved in that particular sentence, but now, after 415 laps, The Juicy's number 15 is out. My word. I thought it was a replay to start with, because when the replay starts, it tends to start slowly. So I thought the replay had been queued up. But no such luck for the 15 car. That is now out of here. So Juicy's the Juicy's banner is being represented solely by its GTE entrant, which is currently being driven by Joao Barbosa. And after 365 laps, they've still, they're a long way behind the MCM car in second, but either way, they still are on for a podium finish. So then Damien Scavron will take the top spot so far for 94, the Burst squad. Wow, that just caught me completely by surprise, and I imagine it caught Robert Pound by surprise too. And that car ain't moving anywhere, as Davin Rocek continues to drag his car along the floor. But Rocek didn't hand the car over, and it's a 119.9, so still pressing on like a man possessed. As we'll get Robert Pound's car is still shown on the picture-in-picture and not moving anywhere. There's Josh Perrian. And now that Robert Pound's car has just left the garage, so was it a technical problem rather than a blown engine? Well, if that was the case, that was really strange, because the car just had steering input right up to the point that it stopped. So I have no idea what happened there, but either way, that has cost the 15 a potential win in this race. Because again, they're going to re-dock that lap for reconnecting. Not that it's going to put them in the hands of 79 Axel, because they're another 5 laps back. But well. So we didn't have another retirement. We had a big problem for the 15 car. So Robert Pound is back out on circuit, but a huge amount of time behind Damon Scoville. 3 laps indeed is what he lost. So a big shot in the arm there for Burst Esports. Let's see if they can carry that through to the end. There's the DIS Sim Racing Mad Porsche, still enjoying a 2-lap lead over the MCM Motorsport Aston Martin. Who's next over the line? Well, there's Joao Barbosa and new race leader Damien Scovron, and a message from Race Control. Okay, so car 15 ran out of fuel, and they have rejoined, and it is a straight 1-lap penalty. Obviously, because the car is now afresh, so that's what the 1-lap penalty is for, as per the rule for rejoining. But they ran out of fuel. Oh dear. We thought it was a blown engine, as it suddenly spiked when it was coming to a rest. Oh, that's embarrassing. Someone got the fuel calculation wrong, and they not long started a lap as well, because they were in the Descida de Largo. And we've got Alex Zescher wanted to come and have a chat with us again. Let's have a chat with one of the drivers of the leading GT3 car, as Marcel Kaspersky, I'll get his name right eventually, is now in the GT3 leading Audi. Production, if you could drag Mr. Zescher over at your earliest convenience, please. And there he is. Alex Zescher, are you with us? You are muted. And there we go. Hello. Thank you very much for, again, coming to join us. Again, pretty good run.
You shouldn't be lonely in here.
I have the world watching us. I have you lovely drivers to talk about. I'm not lonely at all. But it's very much appreciated you spending the time to come and have a chat to us. But, I mean, what can we say? It's been a pretty flawless performance from the 585 car.
Yeah, so far. There was a little bit of... in the last corner around the pit entry, there was a I don't know what it was actually. I think it was a marker board or anything, but I hit that and the car just spun into the wall.
Oh, has that needed a lot of fixing? Did that cause a lot of damage?
1 minute.
A whole minute, and still you lead by, at the moment, 38 seconds.
Yeah. So yeah, the lead has been building the lead has been pretty good. Really happy that we could have these sad accidents here and still be in the lead.
Do you ever get to a point where you feel you've built enough of a lead that you don't have to push so hard, or do you always try and keep the pace as high as you can?
It's always about keeping the pace as high as it can, because like you can always get hit with some unlucky stuff, and you want to make sure if that happens, we have the lead, like what happened.
So we're approaching the final 2 hours of the race. How many times are you going back in the car before the checkered flag falls, or is Marseille now got it?
No, like my foot is done. It's not driving anymore. No, Machi is driving this stint, and then Elisio will take the final. Right,
great stuff. So, well, Alexander, it's been a great pleasure to chat to you at various points throughout the race. If you're sticking around for the final 2 hours, by all means come and join us with some gossip from your side if you so choose to. Otherwise, rest well. It's been a brilliant performance from the Azatec SimSports Audi. Well done, and best of luck for the remaining 2 hours.
Thanks, man.
Thank you very much, Alexander Sesha from the 585 Azatec SimSports car. And now Marseille Kasperczyk has got hold of that one. And there he is in the Azatec Audi. As you can't see its colours in the eye of darkness. Damien Scavron is in the pits, bringing in the number 94. Is that a driver change, I wonder? I'm not too sure it's going to be, because I don't think it was that long ago when Damien took over. There's Joao Barbosa. He has been in that car quite some time, so I wouldn't be surprised if we soon see the Deuces number 74 come in to swap round. Got a lovely aerial shot of how well it is lit up. The championship connotations then. Well, not really anything changed in the course of the DPIs. Although they wouldn't be... That's LMP. I was just getting confused. Hang on, that's not DPI. So no, now that the Juices have had the issue they've had, of course, the win would go back over to the Burst squad. So 11 points would be their advantage over Sam 9 Axel if the race finished the way it is right now. With Juices, 11 points behind Sam 9 Axel. So still a lot of fighting still to do, still positions to gain. Championship still very wide open for the LMP2 Plus if the race were to finish right second. That's the DPI one, and well, what can you say? Storming performance from Burst, and that is assuming the Burst finish ahead of Unison. Now at the moment Burst are behind, but they are gaining pretty quickly, lap on lap, almost sector on sector. Well, lead sector on sector indeed. So at the moment, that will be taking the consideration that Burst would take the win. Championship is still open, but the possibility becomes very, very difficult for Unison to take that position away from Burst. That's how it is if Unison beat Burst now. So if Unison take the win, then the points gap becomes 26. So it's a bit more manageable than 40. But either way, of course, the championship lead will still remain, I won't say fairly comfortably in Burst's hands. They would have to basically just not turn up. And let's face it, they're going to turn up for Spa and for Le Mans at the end of the season. As for the GTEs, well, Deuces would remain at the top of the tree by 26 points over the DIS squad, with DIS eating into that lead by 10 points. With MCM ahead of Mugen, with Mugen not being here this evening, and Unison jumping up to ahead of the Musto Pescara cars. And ID Simsport just 1 point off the back of the second of the Musto cars, the number 53. And for the GT3 table, if the race finished the way it is now, then it would still be Volanti Racing Azatec, of course, at the top. As this would be their second win if it remains so. Glam Racing would be 13 points back, with DSR Gato Huset up into third place ahead of our four non-participants of tonight, but still all to play for in all of our championship categories. Some a bit further apart than others, of course, but all four championships still open for the last 2 rounds of the season. That's the important part, and that's the part that's going to be great fun to look forward to. And Ongenenga is back out in the car in the number 94. I always swap the M and the D. It's Old Demenga, and I always say Old Mendenga for some reason. There's Robert Powell in the freshly refueled number 2's car. But 4 laps to gain in just over 2 hours. That's going to be an impossible order, I think it's fair to say. But that's not going to stop him from pressing on. Davin Mrochak now less than a minute behind Denis Ishenko. So still that battle brews. It's going to take a while. Yeah, we knew that to start with. Will the pit stops, will the remaining driver changes, assuming there are any, upset that battle? We will see. But Davin Mrochak is giving it absolutely everything he has, even to the point of causing the spin and dropping 11 seconds. That, you know, obviously took him pretty much that many laps to build up. A 1:21.0 last time around for Mrochak. We'll see what Denis Shashenko can answer that with. 21.5 last time around. And there is the lead DPI car. Just coming through Junshao, and we complete another lap with Robert Powell right behind him in the Juices number 15. Sparks ahoy for the number 17, and that is a 21.4. So 0.4 of a second was the gain by burst that time around. They'll need more than that if they're going to overhaul the Unison Racing number 17. But as Davin Mrochak proved, even the greats can make mistakes. So mistake is very, very easy, especially at this very late stage. Who else can we have a look at? Jacob Kowalski, you really could have a look at. He's 46 seconds behind Maciej Kasperczyk, but he's not gaining on the Azatec Audi. Bear in mind that the 585's not long had their driver change. So just one more change to go on for the Azatec car, and probably 1 or 2 driver changes remaining for everybody else at this point. Such as the 94, the race-leading car. Daniel Scott handing that back over to Tom Aldermenger. There is Jacob Kowalski in the 404. Second place in the GT3s by just under 50 seconds. But still the fastest of the 2 Audis is Maciej Kasperczyk in the 585 car, 31.637. So 1.1 seconds different. So without pit stops, if we were to run to the end, which there won't be, there'll be about 87 laps remaining. So of course we have pit stops to factor into that particular target. So we might just fall short of the 500 lap count. We'll see as the race continues. But the top of another hour has been reached. 10 hours have gone, ladies and gentlemen. 2 remain. Wow, the 18 wouldn't have to pick up. So say that again, production. 0. So the 18 has to gain about 0.7 of a second on Denis Ishenko every single lap to overhaul the difference. and last time around it was 0.3 of a second. So it's not done and dusted, but it's not, it's not out of the woods. It's not impossible, but that's going to take some doing. As who was that coming into the pits? That was Kowalski, Jacob Kowalski for Glam Racing, bringing in the number 404. But for the time being, let's have a word from the commercial sponsors.
The 2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.